Fame got to this kid faster than his body could handle it, and it shows in almost everything he's done since.
What would you rate Michael B. Jordan? A lot of girls I know, they really like Michael B. Jordan for whatever reason.
I can tell you the reason. It's the fact that he's rich and famous, right? In terms of facial aesthetics, he's far below average. I would say that he's about 4 out of 10, maybe 3.5. Super facially challenged, very aesthetically disfortunate. So Michael B. Jordan is not a mugger, not good looking at all.
Okay.
So that's why he gets the 3.5 out of 10.
I can totally see people saying you're not as good looking as Michael Jordan, but I think they're just choking on the status quo a little bit.
That's the tone he built an entire following on. Flat, certain. Like he's not offering an opinion, he's reading a verdict. A year ago, nobody outside a Looksmaxxing forum had heard his name. Then he started grading other people's faces out loud in public with zero hesitation, and somehow that became the whole brand. Jawlines, symmetry, bone structure, all of it turned into homework nobody asked for. And it worked. A huge wave of young men decided the confidence alone meant he had to be right. Turns out confidence was never the product, it was the packaging. Underneath the ratings was a much simpler pitch. Watch me judge everyone else, and maybe nobody will notice how hard I'm working to avoid being judged myself. For a while, that held up. He was engineering the perfect face, the perfect body, the perfect life, and selling himself as proof it worked. Then the proof started falling apart in public, and it didn't happen slowly either. It happened in about a month. 5,000 to 6,000 people tuned in to watch a real surgeon narrow his nostrils toward what got called live on stream. The perfect beauty standard, the exact same standard he'd spent a year applying to everyone else.
The streamer Clavicular just had a serious plastic surgery procedure performed while live streaming. He decided to collaborate with Dr. Miami, a known sketchy doctor, to perform a rhinoplasty procedure because he hates his nose. Clavicular is incredibly insecure, and this is just another step in his Looksmaxxing journey.
Think about what that actually is for a second. Not a glow-up video, not a filter. The guy who built a career telling other people they weren't good enough just live streamed the moment he agreed with them about himself. Irony, right? He said he was healing fast. Said he could almost breathe again. And this is where you'd expect the story to end. The reveal. The after photo. Some kind of vindication. Except that's not what happened. Nobody was talking about his nose, not the precision, not the beauty standard, none of it. The entire conversation had already moved somewhere else. Onto his body, onto how much smaller and different he looked. Months of visible change that nobody flagged until his face was mid-recovery and impossible to ignore. He fixed the one thing he insisted mattered most, and the internet just shrugged and started grading something new instead. Because that's genuinely the funniest part. He didn't just get roasted for changing his face, he got roasted for barely being noticed while doing it. That's not really a story about vanity. It's a story about a plan that failed on its own terms. He believed if he just got the face right, the judgment would stop, and it didn't stop. It just moved targets, and this time the target was him, standing in a different spotlight than the one he built.
Clavicular got emotional after realizing Dr. Miami, may have ruined his nose forever and cost him his entire career. When are we just gonna start calling this just body dysmorphia? Why are we trying to play around that it's called Lookmaxxing when it's just body dysmorphia? That's all this is. He just has severe body dysmorphia. You know, it's not like he's confident in the slightest ever. Because if you weren't confident with what you looked like before and you needed something done, then you're never gonna be confident. And I like Clap, but I think he's one of the worst people that kids can look up to in history. Because it's this always needing to look better mentality. Always. Even when you already look that good, you somehow need to look better. And now you got your surgery done. And for what?
This wasn't the first time either. A few months earlier, he took the whole act overseas. The expensive fit, the tank top with the city's name across it, every surface level signal that worked so well online, and none of it translated. The women weren't impressed, the locals weren't flocking to him. All that presentation and none of it bought him presents because presents was never something you could buy in the first place, and a room full of strangers with no context for his following couldn't be talked into pretending otherwise. That's the actual weakness in a persona built entirely on aesthetics. It only works on people who already agreed to play along before you walked in. Take away the audience that already bought in, and there's nothing left holding the character up.
So Clavicular just landed in Paris and he's going out with this dude who's called Prince of Paris to get some girls, but just when they came across some women in the street, all of them gave attention to the prince instead of Clav, and it looked like Clav was almost gonna cry.
Oh no!
Ladies.
Sorry, we really gotta go. No way! Yeah. How you doing? Clav. Yeah.
Will you guys do it?
Sure.
Yeah, bye-bye.
By this point, people who'd followed him from the beginning were already saying it plainly, that watching him fall apart didn't feel like schadenfreude anymore. It felt like watching someone who genuinely needed help instead of an audience, someone who mistook attention for progress and kept feeding the wrong one. There's a version of this story where a 20-year-old gets famous overnight and handles it fine. This isn't that version. This is what it looks like when the fame arrives faster than the person underneath it has any framework for carrying it, and instead of slowing down, he just found louder ways to keep the cameras pointed at him, which is exactly the mindset that got him into everything that came next. By December, the ratings in the surgery stream were already old news, because Clavicular found a much faster way to end up in headlines. He hit a man with his own Cybertruck live on camera. Somebody off screen is heard telling him to just drive. And he does. And the internet spent the next 24 hours doing what the internet does best, arguing about whether a grown man got run over or whether it was staged, while genuinely wondering out loud if the guy survived. One response summed up the entire mood of the internet that week. Better than anything else, somebody just said hopefully. And somehow that became the most reasonable take in the replies. Somewhere out there, Polymarket even opened odds on whether charges would land by the end of January, which is its own small tragedy. That a man getting hit by a truck became a betting market before it became a police report. Turns out the charges never came. Turns out barely an hour after the whole internet was speculating on whether someone had died, Clavicular posted an AI-generated image of himself running the guy over again, captioned with the kind of line you'd expect from someone who just discovered consequences don't apply to him, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Clavicular manslaughter is actually so wild. So you already know that Clavicular ran someone over on Christmas Eve, but apparently he actually has like a good chance of just straight up getting away with it.
Which brings us to maybe the most quietly hilarious stretch of his entire year. The month he got banned from almost everywhere in Miami. Not banned from one club, banned from clubs, plural, banned from restaurants. He described it himself, tried to get dinner, banned, tried a club, banned, tried another club. And you can hear the exact moment his friends realize the bit isn't a bit anymore. There's something almost impressive about being 20 and running out of places in an entire city that will let you sit down and eat.
Take a joke. You know I'm genuinely banned from like everything.
No way.
Like I tried.
Hold on. So you literally cannot walk into a. Shut the fuck up.
Dude, I tried. So I tested it. I tried to get dinner, banned. I go to the club, banned. Try to go to another club.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Kiss the fucking wall.
Bro, I might have to.
Naturally, the very next headline was an arrest, fake ID, illegal drugs, felony level charges on paper. Viewers assumed this was finally the moment reality caught up with him. It wasn't. The charges got dropped for what prosecutors called no reasonable likelihood of conviction, and Clavicular walked straight out of custody and used the headline from his own arrest to promote a fashion show appearance days later. No matter how much trouble he puts himself in, he somehow finds a way to turn the trouble itself into the promotion. Then there's the alligator. If you've somehow missed this one, a group including Clavicular was out speeding around the Everglades, playing with firearms, spotted a gator floating nearby, and decided the correct response was to open fire on it in a public area. Genuinely one of the more unhinged sentences you'll hear about a man who built his entire career on facial symmetry. It resulted in a plea deal, 6 months probation, community service, and a mandatory wildlife safety course, which is a phrase that should not exist next to someone's name, but here we are. And the part that actually matters long term isn't the alligator, it's the 6 months of probation sitting quietly on his record now, because the next time he does something reckless, and there's no reason to think there won't be a next time, that probation is what turns a slap on the wrist into an actual year behind bars.
had to make sure. Yeah, I think it's dead.
Which brings us to April, and the moment that finally forced people who'd been laughing along to stop laughing. He overdosed live on stream in a Miami nightclub, ended up on life support, and for a moment the story genuinely could have ended there. It didn't. He recovered, and less than a day later, he was back out, smiling for cameras at his own nightclub opening like nothing had happened at all. That gap, less than 24 hours between a medical emergency and a red carpet smile, is the single most disturbing detail in this entire story, more than the truck, more than the alligator, because it's the moment that shows you nothing actually lands on this guy. Not consequences, not headlines, not his own body shutting down on camera. There's also a civil lawsuit sitting in the background of all this, filed by an ex who alleges assault and an unauthorized medical procedure carried out during a live stream. He disputes it, his lawyers called it unproven, and it hasn't gone to trial, so that's exactly where it stays. Unresolved and contested, not something to weigh in on here.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy. I mean, Clavicular has done a lot of questionable things, but I think this is up there as one of the most concerning. He's essentially injecting what looks like maybe some filler into this girl's cheeks, and I don't think that he's doing it very cleanly. I mean, first of all, he's not wearing any gloves. I highly doubt that he disinfected her face prior to these injections, and who knows what he's even injecting here. Where did he get these supplies? What are his landmarks here? Does he know where the main blood vessels are that he could potentially hit and cause different problems for her, like necrosis of the skin, different types of other problems like infection and nodule formation, and maybe even blindness? And does he know how to reverse the effects of some of these complications with something like hyaluronidase? Does he have that available at his disposal? Regardless, he is not licensed to do these types of injections, and doing them on a live stream or however he's doing them here should be considered, highly illegal and something that I think should not be condoned. I've spoken out in the past against the DIY community when it comes to filler and even Botox and other things like threads and whatever else people are doing to themselves. But this is something that is highly dangerous if done incorrectly and really probably should not even be on the internet.
But even just the existence of it fits the pattern by now, because everything with Clavicula eventually ends up in front of a lawyer, a judge, or a headline, and somehow he keeps walking back out the other side looking for the next camera. Which is really the whole story in one line. Fame didn't just get to his head, it replaced whatever used to be there. And every single time the consequences show up, he treats them like content instead of a warning, which means the only ending this really has is the one where nobody's watching anymore. And knowing him, that might be the only outcome he's actually afraid of. At this point, Clavicula's collected more bans, lawsuits, and near-death livestream moments than most reality shows manage in 5 seasons. And somehow he's still out here booking fashion show appearances the same week. Say what you want about the guy, but he might be the only person alive who could survive an alligator, a Cybertruck, and his own nose, and still show up smiling. If this breakdown kept you entertained, hit like, drop a comment telling me which moment from this video was the most unhinged, and subscribe because knowing Clavicula, there's already a new chapter loading before this video even finishes rendering.